Within the Jewish tradition, as with many legal systems, information moves from top down. In the United States, it's the Constitution. In English common law, it's the concept of precedent. Within Judaism, it is the Torah text, as interpreted by those individuals who have been empowered to interpret that text. The extension of this concept is that students do not have the right to formulate halachic rulings that contradict rulings given by their teachers. When this happens, there are fairly severe consequences, and the term used for this process is Moreh Halacha Bifnei Rabbah, one who takes upon himself to give a halachic ruling Bifnei Rabbah without deferring to the Rav. In the English law system, we call it contempt of court. On the surface, one could interpret the sin of Nadav and Avihu that the act of offering the ketoret from the fire pans was an illegal act. It was something that was not part of the avodah. For obvious reasons, Rashi appears to reject this approach. Because one could ask, why would these two individuals do something that was clearly illegal? And therefore Rashi looks for other alternatives. The first comes from Rabbi Eliezer, and according to this position, their sin was not the act, but the fact that they did this without authority. In the words of Rashi, Lo metu b'nei Aharon ella, double negative. The sons of Aaron died because shehora halacha b'fnei Moshe Rabban, that they made a halachic decision in the presence of or without the authority of Moshe Rabbeinu. You can see that this lies in the actual words of the text, that Vayakrivu lefnei Hashem, an Eish Zara. The reason why this was an Eish Zara is because Asher lo tziva otam. They had not been authorized to do whatever they did. An alternative view comes to us from Rabbi Yishmael, in that the problem was not Moreh Halacha Bifnei Rabbah, rather it was a problem of Shituyei Yayin. All aspects of the Bet HaMikdash Avodah needed to be done with a degree of focus by the Kohen who was officiating. The Shechita, the sprinkling of the blood, the various aspects of the Korban. We are all aware of the consequences of alcoholic beverages upon the individual who needs to be focused. And according to the position of Rabbi Ishmael, the two sons of Aharon, Nadav and Avihu, entered Nichnasu LaMikdash, entered the Mikdash area in a state of Shtuyei Yayin, drunkenness. The only problem with Rabbi Ishmael's interpretation is that there is nothing in Pasuk 1 that indicates that there was an issue of Shtuyei Yayin. At least the position of Rabbi Eliezer can be read into the text with a little bit of stretching, where it states Vayakrivu lefnei Hashem eish zara asher lo tziva otam. They did something for which they were not formally commanded, and into those words one can read Moreh Halacha Lifnei Rabbah. But there appears to be absolutely nothing in Pasuk 1 that points us in the direction that there was a sin of Shtuyei Yayin, intoxication. For this reason, Rashi goes on to say, Teda, I am now going to present you with a textual basis for the second interpretation. Pasuk 8 and 9, I believe, is the only time that a commandment was given to Aharon. Most of the commandments were given by God to Moshe, who then conveyed the commandment on to others, Aharon, the Zakenim, or whoever was responsible for their implementation. Here in Pasuk 8 and 9, we find that God comes directly to Aharon without Moshe and gives him a specific command. And that command was, Yayin v'sheichar al teisht. You are prohibited from drinking yayin and v'sheichar, wine or any alcoholic that brings intoxication upon the individual. B'vayachem el ohel moed, when you come into the ohel moed, or later on the Mishkan, and later on still the Bet HaMikdash, so that v'lo tamutu, so that you shall not die. The implication being that if you were to enter the Mikdash area in a state of intoxication, you will be liable for death. This then is the preference of Rabbi Ishmael, that the sin of Nadav and Avihu was a violation of the Shtuyei Yayin commandment. The Lubavitcher Rebbe in Likutei Sichot, volume 12, deconstructs this Rashi and identifies 6 difficulties that this commentary of Rashi raises.